what is the primary goal and purpose of your life? I believe from all the videos that I've created and from all the videos that I've seen, this is probably the most important video because it's eluding people, and this is an important bit of information. And of course, I'm going to discuss this purpose as being activating and developing your brain capacity to its full potential, because we are born by default with only about 8 to 10% of it functional, and it will not increase beyond 20% unless we do something physically, and the regular life, and naturally it will not just automatically develop to 100% capacity, and there's so much to develop. So introductions: I am Osman. I'm bioenergy healer, um, on a master level with telepathic capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and cancer treatment, amongst the other host of physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments, especially treating the adverse effects of involuntary Kundalini awakening. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing for almost 50 years, and um, teaching for 44 years. And in that period, I studied under various masters from different schools of thought, and gleaned the most, important information, and created a simplified, more effective protocol adapted for the 21st century. Something that is faster, quicker, and powerful, right? Cutting out all the unnecessary frills and saving, loads of unnecessary time. And to that end, I've got I've got students in over 100 countries, and I've also developed many protocols, including my own 5-minute yoga and meditation program that you can download for free from my website, yogawellness786.com. And always understand and remember, my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So, I've been in this field for almost 5 decades, and there's always so many things that one has to do. You do hatha yoga for your health, you're doing meditation for calmness of your mind, alleviating stress, and you're doing pranayama to improve the oxygenation of your blood and overall health, and also mental well-being, and physical stamina, and also longevity. Pranayama is linked to longevity. And then later on in my mature years, I started to learn about the Kriya, and fast forwarding the development, or the progress of meditation exponentially, 100 to 1,000 times faster, and getting mixed up with fitness and business and so many things in life. And then we realize, through all my studies and philosophies and everything, that actually the purpose of meditation, the purpose of yoga, and so forth, everyone says union and attaining enlightenment and samadhi, and for the average person, this is a far-fetched idea. Yes, if it's something simple, you can do it. And to give you the statistic, from known experiments that were carried out in the past, there is firstly very few people inclined to this field, probably 0.1% or 0.01%, was interested and disciplined into a regular practice, daily practice, right? Consistent, for 5 years plus, right? So people who are into that type of discipline is probably 0.01%, even maybe smaller. From that percentage, if we take a select few, maybe 100, of the top, best, most disciplined people, the success rate in attaining the development of the brain. So people say enlightenment, but I prefer to say developing the full capacity of the human brain, right? Because enlightenment is something else that people confuse development of the brain to enlightenment. So developing the full capacity of the brain from 8 to 10% to 100%, successfully attaining that is 3 to 4% of the fraction of a percentage. So that is adopting the traditional methods, and this is why people abandon it, because it's you got a better chance of winning the lotto than to get involved in this. And it's so sad. I meet many people who are spending decades, right? 5 decades, 6 decades plus. I got one new client or patient, and she's been practicing for 63 years without, we'd say, without any result, right? So maybe, I mean, there's some small result, and she's got stability, financial stability, mental stability, and so forth, right? Which comes automatically with meditation. But this is not something people's gonna create as the main purpose. So the main purpose of meditation and all these yoga sciences is to develop the higher capacities of the brain. And what's the most important part? What's the target area, the sweet spot? Is the pineal gland. So what actually is happening is the pineal gland is connected to your major energy centers. So it's connected to all your energy centers, of course. You've got 7 major energy centers, but total there are 114 energy centers. But the pineal gland is not connected to all 114 energy centers. It's only connected theoretically to the 7 major energy centers, and each major energy centers in turn is considered to a subsidiary network of energy centers, that it controls within its location, right? For example, the third eye energy center will control the brain function and the eye and the auditory functions, and all those. And then the throat will connect with the uh, your thyroid gland, your voice, and your communication capabilities, and so forth. But there's a huge network. Each one has got its conduits that are coming out of it. So they call them by lotuses, and like the base energy center has got 4 major um, conduits that are going through it. It's astro or very subtle conduits that is not visible by the naked eye. And then the second one, I even forget, the number. There's 6, 8, and 12, right? So 6 for the second energy center, 8 for the third energy center, and 12 for the fourth energy center, and 16 for the fifth energy center, and 2 for the sixth energy center, and 1,000 for this seventh energy center, right? So this is what they call enlightenment, because the 1,000 is you when you activate that one, it it covers the entire body, everything, right? So the flow is amazing. The brain fully activates because 1,000 conduits is going from there. For that to function, for energy to pump into 1,000, very high amounts of energy needs to go, and by default we don't have that activated. There needs to be some type of practice. Where's the energy center? Where's the power plant, that's supplying the energy? Is the pineal gland. So the pineal gland is working on, let's say, power saver mode, just to keep life activities going, right, until you can awaken it and let it function fully. If you don't let it function fully, then power saver mode is not sufficient to maintain the full functionality and capacity of the brain, as well as the full functionality and capacity of the body. So the body has got an amazing capacity on power saver mode, right? It's got self-repair function, but these are all on power saver mode, not on the full capacity. So when it's on full capacity, then it is 100% efficient as compared to 8% efficient. Then lifespan is much longer. Of course, there has to be the right foods that you need to eat as well, and the combination of practices. So our main goal and purpose is to power up and activate the pineal gland to its full potential. So the normal energy that is being supplied by the blood vessels and the food we eat and the regular activities will not power it up, never, right? It will just let it to work on continue to work on power saver mode. need a very high supply of energy. So there is a very high energy reserve that we have, right? And that's located dormant in the base of the spine area, or it's also considered to be in the root chakra. But I would say in the base of the spine, where they say it is, right? And it needs to be activated, and when it rises, it's got the power to fully power up the pineal gland, and it needs to be awakened in a very safe and scientific manner. If it just awaken, haphazardly, it can cause harm, because it needs to travel through from the base of the spine up to the pineal gland. And on the way is all the chakras. You got the root chakra starting, right? And then the six, there's five chakras before the pineal gland. Pineal gland associated with um, uh, the sixth chakra, right? So you're going up to the sixth chakra, and it's going to power up. So there's so much of blockages that needs to be cleared before that power center, because if you awaken that power center in the base of the spine and let it rise up, the blocked chakras, the it will, because the power is so high, and it may come up on a very high power mode, and it will unblock all the blockages to smithereens instantly, right? That instant unblockage is cannot be withstand, because it's associated with psychological evolution, right, or psychological development. So it's suddenly going to take you, from like a toddler level, kindergarten level, to PhD level. Is going to be, you're not going to be able to handle, like you, if you're 3 or 4 years old, and someone give you, PhD level lessons on quantum physics, it's not going to, you don't even know the alphabet, you don't even know how to read numbers. How are you going to understand that? So it blows the mind. It's like, the best analogy is like you got a big container full of dirt, stored dirt, in every chakra, and suddenly you put in a nuclear bomb there, or you just put a normal bomb, right? And it explodes it, and there's dirt splattered everywhere in the room, everywhere in the surroundings, full of dirt, which causes havoc, in the psychology field, and creates madness, insanity, uh, extreme pain, and also you can become permanently committed. So there are hundreds of thousands of people who are struggling with involuntary Kundalini awakening, because it's still awakening. There's something that they are doing, or they developed something. Maybe they are very thoughtful or thinking a lot, and starting to activate the pineal gland, by accident, and the pineal gland is now starting to require energy, and start drawing the energy and attracting the energy from the base, and the base just involuntarily awakens. And some people even using drugs, and this interferes with the with the root, or the energy is called, the dormant energy is termed kundalini, right? So they involuntarily awaken the kundalini that way, or through extreme discipline practices, martial arts, and so forth. They can have an involuntary, or people who are always analyzing and studying and going deeper and deeper into philosophy and so forth, and highly academic people, and also people who is experimenting with spirituality, going and getting initiated by gurus, left, right, and center, and creating this, and adapt starting yoga practices, without correct guidance, right? And this can also start activating it, right? So not necessarily only yoga, there can be certain fitness exercises that can activate it, right? And it causes havoc. So it needs to be awakened, and in a controlled manner, and the right manner. It develops naturally, and it goes stage by stage, and powers it up slowly. So to give you an example of how important this is and how long it takes, it's not something that suddenly you can decide, okay, now I'm ready to activate this. Let me activate it. So there was an experiment done, decades ago with Gopi Krishna. So there's many books available. There's videos of his lectures. Gopi Krishna is from the 1970s and 80s, right? Late 70s and early 80s, when they created the videos, and he spoke on the Kundalini awakening and the activating the full capacity of the brain, right? And he was part of an experiment, where in his childhood they put him into special schools designed to create people who are enlightened, right? And he had his first enlightenment experience, or called the inner conjunction, where it awakened. It took him from the age of 17, disciplined practice, to the age of 34, when this thing awakened, right? And when it awakened, then to develop it, and that awakening was very devastating for him, and he got extremely ill, and he reached almost fatality point by awakening. That's how powerful the energy was and uncontrolled. And he was I think seriously in hospital for about 9 weeks, 9.5 weeks, right? Before he was laid off work as well, right? And then he abandoned all that practice because it was very devastating for about 4 years. And then he went back into it slowly after 4 years. And then it took him a total of 17 years further, because from his age of 34, he 15 years later is age of 49. But with the 4 year break in between, he said like actual practice took him around 12 years, before it fully matured and was stable. And then he was fully conscious of the full spectrum of awareness of what the brain is capable of. So let's take example of we as a human. We can see a certain spectrum of light, and the bees can see a much higher spectrum of light. So for them, the world is so much more colorful. But the color is there, just that we can't see the full spectrum because why? Our brain is not fully open. It's just power saver. Even your phone is full functionality is not there on power saver mode. Just the emergency functionality and the basic functions are there, right? That's how we are. So from youth and young age, there is safe protocols to develop the like how you're going to school for 12 years, right? To graduate high school. That 12 years should be spent in also developing this pineal gland through the sciences. There's what ways is the various yoga methods. Right? There's 112 methods theoretically created, and you can choose whichever one because there's different strokes for different folks, and you can choose whichever one is suitable for you. I've developed a combination protocol that is well-rounded, and it's got 7 protocols, 7 different yoga systems, right? That I found to be, the primary ways in which to not only to awaken it, but develop it and do it safely and have the body prepared for its, coming, and put in security and insurance measures, in place, and developing everything. So I spent the last 5 decades doing that, and now it is in a very simplified form and easy, for people to start practicing it, and from a basic level. And people should focus on that because your brain is the difference between the human and the animal kingdom. And why have a Ferrari parked in the garage and you're not using it, and you're using a bicycle to work? You got a Ferrari. Why take a bicycle to work, right? You can just go. You just don't know where's the key and how to start it and how to drive it. So similarly, the yoga process is that, and your main primary purpose and goal in life is to, more important than everything else, is to take yourself out of power saver mode. The most important thing in a phone when it's on power save is to charge the battery. You're not going to leave it on power save, because what's going to happen, it's going to die. And that's why people are dying prematurely, getting sick, all types of problems, stress, psychology problems, the source of everything. Once your brain is fully alert, you're going to be much more efficient. You're going to, you know how amazing that level. its speed of that comparable to the normal speed is like, I can't even say 1,000 times faster. Is like, it's not an exaggeration, right? Probably much more, much faster than that. You can analyze things and you'll be able to, and also the ambit, your vision, everything improves. You can see everything much clearer and better, and a whole massive world opens up to you of the actual reality, and all that is dimmed. So this is something very important, and why you should, focus on developing a good, safe protocol, and focus on realizing your full potential as soon as possible, not later. Right? This is not for something for the old age. This is something that needs to be done, as early as possible. And according to the theory, the best time for development of this is between the ages of 20 and 40, because the body is stronger, can withstand that level of energy. But preparation has to begin from childhood, you know, for it, so that your body is developed, your habits are right and all aligned. So when you are in the advanced level and ready to awaken this dormant power, it's your body can withstand it. That's the theory. But in my opinion, no, uh, you must start as soon as possible. And there is safer ways, to do it, and follow those protocols. So I hope that information helps you. Take care of yourself always. Tap stop.